What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. In this episode, I'm looking at the subreddit TraumatizeThemBack. If you're a fan of revenge stories, then this is definitely the episode for you. I've got 6 stories for you, starting with this hilarious one in which a stalker ends up getting stalked themselves. Before we get into it, drop a like on this one, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Let's go. Stalk my daughters, I'll stalk you back. This was a few years ago. I think 2018, 19, pre-COVID at any rate. So I'm a bit fuzzy on ages, but I think my sister and I am a woman by the way, were 30 or 31 and 21 or 22 respectively. But basically, we were followed by a strange man. We were on holiday at the time and we'd left our mum in a pub to go and grab a couple of cute things from a shop and to go play with a local stray cat who lived at one of the squares. She's since been adopted by a family. It's a place we've been going to since we were both babies, so we know our way around blindfolded, and we generally feel safe in the area that we were in. Now, on our walk back to the pub, we realised we were being followed by somebody we didn't know. He wasn't being subtle about it, so we walked a different way to try and throw him off before going back to our mum. As you may imagine, this was extremely alarming to us, particularly because we were in a foreign country. Our friend who owned the pub offered to call the police on the guy, since he was still obviously loitering around the corner. My mum, though, had a different approach. She was a formidable woman who didn't take any nonsense and was fiercely protective of her daughters. If someone like a Karen tried to start an argument with her, as once happened on a flight, they would quickly regret it because she always won. She once quit her job after one too many insults from her boss, knowing her boss couldn't function without her and would come begging her to come back, and she was right. So my mum decided to stalk this strange man back. My sister and I decided to follow along because it sounded intriguing. We watched as he tried to hide behind trees, it did not work, and eventually got so uncomfortable with my mum's relentless pursuit that he fled across the main road, and she pursued him even then until he was finally gone from our sights. That is amazing. I mean, this is just brilliant. It's absolutely comical in my mind. I just want to see this happen. This has to be turned into some sort of skit or something, or some sort of episode on a comedy show. I mean, it's just so good. What a great way to just completely unnerve someone and hopefully make this man realize that what he's doing is so creepy. I mean, it is also illegal, but just mainly just so weird. What is going on? Your mum, by the way? Absolutely legendary. I hope she haunts this man for a very long time, and to be honest, I mean, might as well keep up the stalking. It's so funny. Deceased father's girlfriend is going down. So this will be a developing story over the next few months. Just getting started. My father passed away 3 weeks ago. He was a hard worker, into real estate and a man of means. He has 7 properties, 5 cars and liquid cash. His girlfriend that chased him down 9 years ago was his carer until death. In the last 2 to 3 years, she began to isolate my father from his 4 kids. She'd attempt to keep us out of the home and stand at the door and say he was sick. We would push our way in and he never rejected us. I think we all know what she's trying to do here. November 4th last year, I went out of the blue to his house and he was lying there dying. I took a video. He was septic and wouldn't have made it through the night if I hadn't found him. I sent him to the hospital. He went back again a week later and was placed on hospice. This female dog, I've since found out, deleted my number from his phone. She then got him a new phone about 2 weeks before he died to confuse him so he wouldn't know how to use it. He asked my siblings and son for my number 3 times to call me before death, and he never called. Oh my gosh. I suspect that she kept him from calling. I must fill in this blank. She drove a wedge between us and talked to me like a dog from November to December when I went no contact. I sent a letter expressing my hurt and that I loved him. She presented an electronic will, leaving her everything. Now, e-wills are not valid in my state. She sent a text from his phone to hers back in January stating that he was leaving her 2 homes. It was in broken English, so I know it was her. Dad doesn't even text, he didn't know how. So, she is losing everything. Her car, the house they shared, everything. I'm even thinking of suing her for mental and emotional abuse of my dad. The car he bought for her is in his name. That's gone. Oh, and she also ranted over his casket at his children and grandchildren, all on video. I'm going to ruin her. Wow. Also, a quick update. We're getting temporary orders of administration over the estate and filing eviction tomorrow. And we confiscate vehicles this Sunday with sheriff escort winning. Well, that is amazing to hear. Wow. I mean, the ending for that is great. That is great to see that she's, losing everything. It's just a terrible, terrible case, isn't it? It's a terrible story. Ultimately, though, I do feel like, is there not some form of attempted murder charge here that you could be going for? I know you probably don't want to do this and it's horribly morbid and it's so sad and just very, very, distressing for you and the family. But if you found your dad pretty much dying in front of you, well, you said dying, like he was septic, and it's because of her lack of looking after him, that's the reason why he's in that position, it has to be, then is there not a charge or a potential case for attempted murder there? I don't know. What you've got so far, the temporary orders of administration over the estate, the fact that she's going to be in a much worse place after your dad's death than she was before, despite the fact that, yeah, she clearly was just going for all his money and property in the first place. I think there's more you could do here. I don't know. It's up to you, but I do feel like there's more that could be done. Let me know in the comments down below. Is attempted murder not on the cards here? I'm not sure. Let me know. Annoying middle school attendance lady. Years ago, I called the middle school attendance office to have my 2 boys sent to the office so I could take them out of school for a family emergency. The attendance lady was not happy about this and went on a rant about how I should have sent a note with them a day or 2 in advance and then she would have had them in the office. Now she has to send a student to each of their rooms to get them, and this could take 30 minutes. It's a very old building with no intercoms to each room. Sir, do you understand what an inconvenience it is for me to stop my students from doing an assigned task and have them go and get your children? I was trying to interject, but she wasn't having it. She continued on and on about how all of the protocols are in the student handbook if I would have just taken the time to read it at the beginning of the year. She then finally stopped long enough for me to speak. Mom, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry I didn't send a note with the boys. Now, unfortunately, their grandfather didn't give me advance notice that he was going to have a heart attack this morning. The surgeon performing his open heart surgery didn't give us any advance notice either. We have to leave town immediately. The stuttering and awkwardness was amazing. Honestly, it was hysterical and a great stress reducer while he was in surgery. My dad loves that story. Oh, so he survived. That is even better. Yeah, the word that springs to mind here is just Jobsworth. As I said, I'm very happy that your granddad wasn't actually dead. I thought he was, and then I thought it was going to be an extremely sarcastic response from your dad, something along the lines of, well, unfortunately, we didn't get advance notice that my dad was about to die, but at least he's still alive, and hopefully he could even laugh at this story. Absolutely insane. I mean, is it that hard to go and get students out of a classroom? Also, just send an email. That's what we did at my school. The teachers got an email and they were on their computers anyway. Or yeah, just send a kid around to go and get them. It's not that hard. And in familial emergencies like this, obviously it has to be done. You just haven't had the right D yet. So, I, a 19-year-old woman, only date femme folks. Sexual tastes are a bit broader. Much to the support of most of my family and all of my friends. The friends of my friends, not so much. One of those friends, unfortunately, had a Klingon in their circle. A jerk we'll call Bill. Bill has certain views on relationships and women, and is not very happy with queer people. He likes to make small comments on the fact that I only date women, and even more so, that I'm dating 2 people. Oh, the horror. And only one is a woman, the other being a femboy. Now, he got a bit drunk one night, and his comments were getting a little bit aggressive. I was cuddling with one of my partners and exchanging small kisses, but eventually he said 2 things that everyone should hate. The classic of, you just haven't had the right D yet, as well as a new one I'd never heard. You just need to try it once. I volunteer. Oh my gosh. My partner tries to stop me because she could see I was getting mad, but it was too late. Someone told me that once, I said. Then he R-worded me so I could try it once. Now I can't trust anyone who presents masculine, like you. He got very defensive over this, acting like I was accusing him of something and carrying on. He was promptly asked to leave by the friend he was connected to, and I haven't heard or seen him in 2 months. So, hurrah. Yeah, I mean, this one is just crazy. Absolutely crazy. Who in their right mind would ever say something like this? It's just insane. What are you supposed to even do in response to this? I mean, you didn't have to say what you did, but I'm kind of thankful that you did. Although, it doesn't even seem like he learned from that. He just, as you say, got defensive and then carried on. So really, I mean, did he actually learn from that at all? Probably not, which is just mad, but yeah, crazy. Although, I guess if you haven't seen him in 2 months, that is a good thing, but it shouldn't take you having to say something like this to him for him to not be around anymore. Also, I mean, your friend, who is his friend, who brought him in the first place, surely should have realized he's just a creepy guy. I mean, like, unless he's just not a good friend in the first place, you should expect your friends to have good friends, I reckon. I mean, it's not up to you, but if they are in your same or similar circles, you can't be expecting someone like this to be knocking about. I mean, it's just disgraceful. I mean, you could also argue that, you know, how does Bill not know that he's gay? He just needs a good big D, for want of a better phrase, and it'll magically change him. Has he tried it? No? How can he possibly know? Customer asks, I have cancer. What's wrong with you? So I put my wig on the counter. Back during the mask mandate, I worked in one of the big brand jewelry stores commonly found in shopping malls. On this boring day, it was only me and my assistant manager. We'll call her Lisa, working. In the afternoon, a man, probably in his mid-30s, comes into the store. I do my usual greeting and get ready to work with him when Lisa clears her throat and pulls on her mask a bit. I didn't even realise that the man wasn't wearing a face covering, so I politely offer him a mask so I can help him. Of course, he goes on a rant, saying he knows his rights and the usual mumbo-jumbo we've all heard. I tell him, I'm sorry, but I have a weak immune system and I can't risk getting sick. This earns me a grunt and him snapping at me, I have cancer. What's wrong with you? I give him no answer and take my wig off and drop it on the counter in front of me. He sputters and tries to apologise, saying he didn't know. He then decides to tell my co-worker and me, both early 20s females, about his testicular cancer, talking way too much about his naughty bits for our liking. I guess that was his way of trying to diffuse the awkwardness and shame. I've walked to the other side of the store and my co-worker dealt with him. At some point, I heard him say to her, I'd ask what kind of cancer she has, but... Now Lisa and I share a knowing look. I never actually said I had cancer. My hair fell out when I was a kid and never grew back. That's all it is. No sickness, just my immune system being stupid. Oh wow. Eventually he buys an engagement ring and scurries away. I've honestly never seen a customer walk out so fast-paced. Lisa and I crack up laughing once we thought he was out of hearing range before going back to being bored on a slow day. That is actually phenomenal. I mean, it's a great thing that you don't have cancer, but also the fact that you slightly inferred that you did while not actually saying that you did, and him thinking, oh my God, what have I done, is so good as well. I think just to clarify what I mean here, I mean like it's a good thing that you don't have cancer. I mean, that's obviously a flat good thing, but I think it's also a good thing that you made him think that you did have cancer, despite the fact that you didn't lie about having cancer, which would have been weird. Him thinking that you have cancer, I think is a good thing and should, in theory, although I've said this with like everyone else in this video really, should in theory make him think twice about doing something similar in the future. But I don't know, guys. I mean, I'm just looking through this again. Does he, like, he scurries away and is obviously embarrassed. Will he do something like this in the future? I don't know. I also kind of do feel a bit bad for him. Like, if he has cancer, then it's just a terrible thing to have, obviously. So let's cut him a little bit of slack. He's probably going through a lot right now, but it doesn't excuse, you know, being really rude. And it also doesn't excuse not wearing a mask. I mean, surely you can still wear a mask when you have cancer. If anything, wouldn't you still want to have a mask on? I mean, more than ever, so you don't get, you know, you're not at risk of getting an infection which would make your immune system even weaker, right? Your friendly neighborhood cripple is back. This just happened today and I'm still giddy with glee. Hello, I'm your friendly neighborhood cripple. For those of you just joining us, I, a 50-year-old woman, am paralyzed from the bra band down due to a catastrophic illness. It's been almost 10 years since I was paralyzed, and I have tons of stories which I share here for your enjoyment. To mitigate my disability and help me get around in the world, I have a power wheelchair and a service dog. I'm not exaggerating at all when I say the trash that comes my way could fill a 3-month supply of my colostomy bags and then some. For our newcomers, I am the way I am as I grew up in a suburb of NYC, was bullied constantly my entire school life, and grew up with an older brother. He and his friends made my life a living heck until I honed my sarcasm, sharpened my tongue, and learned to think quickly to give as good as I got. Usually, I ended up turning it around and making it worse for the person who insulted me. In addition to all of this, my husband and I recently moved from our lovely New York adjacent suburb to North Carolina. It's a lower cost of living, I still get excellent medical care, we've got a house that's fully accessible in a lovely neighbourhood, etc. People here say things to you in a sickly sweet or very kind voice, but what sounds like a compliment is often an insult. Now that you're all caught up, on to the story. Today we went to Costco. My hair is a gorgeous dark purple, and as my service dog Cap and I are wheeling around, I see a shirt I like. I go to look at said shirt. It was one of those super soft casual cuts in an amazing shade of green. A younger woman, maybe mid-30s, looks at me and nods politely. I smile and nod back and begin checking out the shirt that caught my eye. She's next to me, also checking out the shirt, just in a different colour. She says to me, "You are so brave to have purple hair. I could never do something like that." In that, "Oh, bless your heart" tone. "Oh, no," I replied. "What's brave is a woman your age wearing that." A vague gesture to her clothes. What's wrong with it? Well, those jeans are definitely a choice. Plus, open-toed shoes when your feet look like that? I wish I had half your confidence. You'll have a great day. At that point, I decided against the shirt, since the shade of green made me look like a shade of corpse that was just not flattering. Not that any shade of corpse is flattering, but this was the least flattering shade of corpse I'd ever seen. Cap and I zoomed off to find my lost husband, leaving her to stare at her perfectly nice jeans and perfectly normal feet in perfectly normal open-toed shoes. I wonder what the frick was wrong with them. And probably wonder why a woman in her mid-30s shouldn't be wearing perfectly nice jeans with a perfectly nice sweater and perfectly normal open-toed shoes. I'll be living rent-free in her head for a long, long time. Until next time, because there's always a next time. Your friendly neighborhood cripple. Now, just some more info to add. Several people have raised the question if she was actually complimenting me. Sadly, friends, she wasn't. Her tone of voice was the one reserved for very stupid dogs, very stupid husbands, or very ugly babies. That saccharine, false sweet tone that indicates disdain behind what would otherwise be complimentary words. Like calling your dog brilliant because they started themselves awake by farting and give their butter look like it betrayed them. Now, I am guilty of that last one. Peggy does it regularly. And everyone, it's hilarious. Yeah, that is fair enough. I was kind of thinking, are you sure she's not actually complimenting you? But I guess when you're in real life, when you hear the tone, you would know if someone's being sarcastic. All right, guys, let me know in the comments down below, because this is the first time I've ever come across this user. And I've got to say, from the style of writing and just the general tone, I love this person. And I want to read more stories from them about similar sort of things that have happened. I can't quite believe I've not seen a story from OP before, but I don't think I have. Comment down below, do you want to see more from this user? Because I reckon, I've not had a look, but I reckon they've got loads and loads of posts that are probably equally as funny as this one. I mean, on this one, just well done. Well done. It's an unnecessary comment from anyone to ever comment on someone else's appearance or style when they're just strangers. So yeah, you just shut her up instantly. It sounded like you just clapped back right away. And you're so right. It makes it better that she's wearing normal stuff that probably looks pretty nice. Because now she's going to be second guessing probably her entire wardrobe and thinking, oh my God, what does she see? What can I not see? Why does she say this about my jeans when they're actually completely normal? It's so good. As you said, great phrase, rent-free. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this one. Really hope you enjoyed these Traumatize Them Back stories. If you did and you want more from this subreddit right away, similar sort of stuff, check this episode out. It's on screen, also linked down below. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow for some more fantastic Reddit content, if I do say so myself.